Before we dive in, if you love epic tales of war, strategy, hit that subscribe and like button, turn on notifications, and join our growing legion of warriors. Now, let's begin. Imagine a deep space observatory, buried in the icy heart of Antarctica, suddenly intercepts a transmission. A signal not from Earth, not even from the Milky Way. A message pulsing with a rhythmic sequence, as if knocking on the doors of human comprehension. Scientists gather, breath held, as the data unravels. It's a warning, a distress call, and embedded within it, coordinates. At first, Earth's leaders dismiss it as a hoax, another case of cosmic noise mistaken for intelligence. But then, the anomalies begin. Satellites mysteriously shut down, their circuits fried as if struck by an invisible force. Entire star systems, once monitored, now shrouded in an unnatural silence. Something is happening beyond the reach of human eyes, and the universe itself seems to be trembling in fear. Dr. Eleanor Voss, a leading astrophysicist, is the first to see the pattern. Buried in the chaos of cosmic radiation, there are echoes of something familiar. A whisper of technology so advanced, it makes Earth's greatest achievements look primitive. The message isn't just a warning, it's an invitation. An invitation from a species that has seen something Earth has not. A nightmare so great, it has reduced entire civilizations to cosmic dust. The United Earth Federation, UEF, scrambles its best minds. The signal's origin? A rogue planet orbiting a black hole, designated Omega-6. An impossible world, defying every known law of astrophysics. It shouldn't exist. And yet, it does. With no sun to nourish it, no atmosphere to sustain life, yet it pulses with energy. A ruin of an ancient empire, frozen in time. With mounting pressure, the UEF authorizes Expedition Eclipse, a mission to uncover the source of the signal. Leading the mission is Commander Adrian Kane, one of humanity's most decorated officers. A man who has seen war on worlds Earth still pretends don't exist. His crew consists of the best, exobiologists, engineers, and soldiers trained to survive in the most hostile environments known to man. As the battleship Vanguard 9 departs from Earth's orbit, tension grips the crew. No one speaks of it openly, but the weight of the unknown looms heavy. Kane watches as Earth shrinks behind them, a blue marble floating in the abyss. They are heading into darkness, into the heart of a mystery that could rewrite human history. Or end it. Then, 3 days into the journey, the first sign of something wrong emerges. Omega-6 isn't just a dead world, it's watching them. The Vanguard 9 drifts toward Omega-6, its reinforced hull trembling under the unseen pressure of the black hole's gravitational pull. The planet looms in the void, a cold, desolate sphere, cloaked in perpetual twilight. Its surface is a graveyard of derelict structures, monolithic spires half buried in the frozen wasteland. They resemble a city, but not one built by human hands. Inside the bridge, Commander Adrian Kane tightens his grip on the armrest as the ship's AI, Echo, reports anomalies. Multiple energy readings detected. Power fluctuations inconsistent with natural phenomena. Clarify, Kane orders, his voice a sharp contrast to the eerie silence. The energy signatures match those of a technological civilization, but they are unstable, fragmented, as if something is still alive. The crew exchanges uneasy glances. A planet orbiting a black hole abandoned for millennia. Yet still, radiating power? Impossible. And yet, Omega-6 waits, pulsing with secrets buried beneath its frozen tomb. The drop team, led by Captain Celine Rourke, suits up in their reinforced exo-armor, their weapons primed. As the Vanguard 9 descends, its landing thrusters illuminating the barren terrain, an unsettling sensation washes over the crew, a presence, as if unseen eyes were observing them from the ruins. "This place gives me the creeps," murmurs Dr. Elias Shaw, the team's xenolinguist, adjusting his helmet's interface. These structures, they weren't just abandoned. Something forced them to be. As they step onto the planet's surface, the ice beneath their boots cracks, revealing blackened metallic veins running deep into the crust. The ruins stretch endlessly, A city consumed by time, yet untouched by decay. Then, a sound. A low guttural vibration rippling through the air, bypassing their comms, reaching directly into their bones. A whisper. A transmission. But not in any known language. Shaw's visor flickers, decoding the impossible. The words come through, distorted and fragmented. Leave. Before. It wakes. The crew freezes. The distress signal. Wasn't it sent to them? But now the warning feels different, urgent. Then the ground trembles. Rourke spins, raising her rifle. Shadows move in the distance, shifting between the ruins. Not the wind, not an illusion. Something alive. A burst of static erupts in their comms, followed by an inhuman screech, a sound that doesn't belong in this universe. And then, from the darkness, they emerge. Towering figures clad in obsidian armor, their forms shifting like liquid shadow. Their eyes, pulses of crimson light, lock onto the humans, filled with something ancient, something hungry. "Contact! Fall back!" Rourke yells, opening fire. The air ignites with blue plasma bolts, but the entities move faster than the eye can. Track. One soldier, Lieutenant Voss, barely has time to scream before a shadow engulfs him, his body twisting in an unnatural spasm. His suit flickers, his bones cracking as if crushed by an unseen force. Then, he's gone. Not dead. Erased. As if he never existed. The mission was meant to uncover the truth. Instead, they've awakened something that was never meant to be, disturbed. Panic surges through the team as Lieutenant Voss vanishes, his very existence erased in the blink of an eye. No body, no remains. Only a distorted afterimage flickering in the air, like reality itself is rejecting his presence. "Commander," Kane's voice roars through the comms. "Fall back to the ship. Now!" The team scrambles toward the landing zone, their boots kicking up frost as the creatures phase through the ruins, shifting between solid and incorporeal forms. Plasma fire erupts in all directions, but it's useless. The shadows consume the energy, absorbing it into their shifting forms like a black hole devouring light. "Weapons ineffective," Rourke shouts. "These things are bending the laws of physics." Dr. Shaw, his hands shaking, runs calculations on his wrist console. His expression turns pale. They aren't just bending physics. They're feeding on it. They're devouring energy, our weapons, our tech, even us. Then, the world distorts. The sky, already darkened by the black hole's presence, rips apart as an unseen force drags the planet itself toward the singularity. The ruins groan, structures collapsing in slow motion. Warped, stretched, and broken apart as if caught in an unseen gravitational tide. And then, a new sound. A deep, guttural howl that makes the very air vibrate. Not from the creatures, from beneath. The ice splits apart in a violent eruption. The ground collapses beneath Kane and his team, sending them plummeting into the abyss below. Darkness swallows them whole. The impact knocks the air from Kane's lungs. His visor flickers as his HUD recalibrates, adjusting to the dim glow of an underground chasm. He groans, pushing himself up. Around him, the others do the same, injured, but alive. A vast subterranean chamber stretches before them, filled with enormous biomechanical structures pulsating with faint, dying light. It's a crypt, but not for the dead. Suspended in massive stasis pods are figures, tall, humanoid, yet distinctly alien. Their skin is metallic, their forms skeletal, yet unnervingly organic. They are frozen in time, preserved as if in eternal sleep. "My God," Dr. Shaw whispers, stepping forward. "This isn't a graveyard. It's a containment facility. A prison." Kane's heart pounds as his eyes settle on the largest structure at the center of the chamber. A massive black monolith, pulsing with eerie red veins. Ancient runes cover its surface, shifting, rewriting themselves in real time. And then, it speaks. A voice, neither male nor female, neither human nor machine, erupts inside their minds. a force so powerful it bypasses their ears and speaks directly to their consciousness. You should not have come. The shadows above them begin to descend. The creatures weren't mindless predators. They were the guardians. And now, the prison is failing. Something far worse is about to wake up. A crushing weight settles over the chamber, pressing into the very fabric of reality. The massive black monolith pulses, its ancient runes shifting faster, rewriting, unlocking. Kane's breath hitches as he grips his weapon tighter, but deep down he knows. Nothing they have can stop what's coming. You should not have come. The alien voice continues to echo in their minds, but now it carries a new tone. A mixture of warning and dread. Dr. Shaw's trembling fingers dance across his wrist console, decrypting the runes at an inhuman pace. His eyes widen as the translation finalizes. It's not a distress beacon, he breathes. It's a seal. This place, this planet. It's not an abandoned ruin. It's a cage. We've just triggered the release mechanism. The realization sinks in like a lead weight. The Omega-6 signal wasn't a call for help. It was a desperate attempt to keep something locked away. And now, the locks are breaking. Above them, the shadowy guardians, those eldritch wraiths that had slaughtered Lieutenant Voss without hesitation, suddenly cease their attack. They hover in place, their crimson eyes flickering. Then, in perfect synchronization, they turn and bow toward the monolith. A terrifying silence follows. Then, reality fractures. A sound unlike anything ever heard rips through existence itself, a deep, resonant howl that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. The monolith splits down the center, revealing an infinite abyss inside. A void so deep, so absolute, that it defies comprehension. And from that abyss, something moves, a form emerges, shifting between dimensions, its shape constantly unraveling and reforming. It is neither flesh nor machine, neither shadow nor light. It is pure entropy, a being that should not exist, a cosmic predator that feeds on the very concept of existence itself. The Devourer. Run! Kane bellows, grabbing Rourke by the shoulder and shoving her toward an exit tunnel. The ground beneath them warps, shifting like liquid stone, gravity itself twisting into chaotic swirls. The stasis pods containing the skeletal aliens begin to shatter, their occupants waking too late, their bodies instantly unraveling into dust the moment the Devourer turns its gaze upon them. Shaw stumbles, his console blinking with unreadable warnings. It's collapsing time itself, rewriting causality. If we don't leave now, we'll be erased. The team sprints through the shifting corridors, the walls flickering between alien metal and endless nothingness. Rourke slams her fist into her. Comms, Vanguard 9, do you copy? We need an emergency evac, now! Only static answers. And then, with a horrifying realization, Kane understands. The ship is gone. The moment the monolith broke, the distortion field extended beyond the planet, reaching space itself. Time is unraveling, and Vanguard 9 never existed. No. No, no, no. Kane's mind races, but the Devourer is moving, expanding, its presence, erasing entire sections of the chamber. One of the soldiers, Private Lorne, stumbles a few feet behind and vanishes. No scream, no sound, just gone. The exit tunnel looms ahead, a shimmering veil of unstable energy. It's their only chance. Jump! Kane orders. One by one, the team leaps through, just as the Devourer's tendrils lash out, barely missing them. The moment they cross, reality snaps back into place. The air is cold, the sky still dark. They are back on the surface of Omega-6, but the planet is no longer silent. Beneath their feet, the ground trembles with an ancient hunger. The Devourer is awake, and it is no longer confined. The collapse of Omega-6. The team barely has time to breathe before the tremors intensify. The planet itself groans, as if awakening from an eons-long slumber. Cracks splinter across the frozen surface, exposing the pulsating, vein-like formations beneath, the very bones of the world beginning to unravel. Kane grips his rifle. But what good would a weapon do against something that devours existence itself? The Devourer isn't just alive. It is hunger incarnate, and it is spreading. Vanguard 9, do you copy? Respond, damn it! Rourke shouts into her comms, but all she gets in return is distorted echoes of her own voice, repeating back in a warbled, wrong tone. Then a new sound erupts, not static, not echoes, but laughter. A deep, guttural amusement that shouldn't exist in this reality. It seeps into their minds, bypassing their ears, slithering into the spaces between thoughts. A voice ancient beyond comprehension. You cannot escape. You have already been consumed. Kane feels his chest tighten. His HUD glitches, flashing error warnings in languages he doesn't recognize. Dr. Shaw stares at his wrist console in horror. This isn't a planet anymore, he stammers. It's an event horizon. We're inside a cosmic singularity, collapsing into the Devourer's domain. And then, it begins. The sky shatters. A spiraling rift in the fabric of space opens above them, revealing the truth. Omega-6 is no longer orbiting the black hole. It is becoming one. The once distant singularity is now growing, a vortex of nothingness, expanding outward, devouring the ruins, the landscape, even light itself. The expedition was doomed the moment they set foot on this planet. We need to move, now, Kane orders, pushing his team forward. But to where? There is no ship, no way off-world. The only thing ahead of them is a vast, crumbling ruin. And a single structure still standing amidst the chaos, a massive ancient gateway, a construct not built by the aliens who imprisoned the Devourer, but by something far older. That's our only shot, Dr. Shaw breathes, already sprinting toward it. If this was a containment world, then there has to be an escape mechanism. But the Devourer is aware. A massive tendril of distorted reality lashes out from the fissure, dragging across the land. Anything it touches ceases to exist. Not burned, not destroyed, just gone, erased. One of the soldiers, Sergeant Hayes, doesn't make it in time. The tendril passes through him, his scream cut off mid-sound. His body flickers, glitches, and then there's nothing. No remains. No memory, as if he had never existed at all. The team sprints, racing against the unraveling world. Rourke and Shaw reach the gateway first, slamming their hands against the ancient control panel. Symbols shift, reforming into something almost recognizable, an interface meant for something not human, but compatible. Kane turns back and freezes. The Devourer is fully manifest now. A being that cannot be comprehended by mortal eyes, shifting between dimensions, a living singularity, a hunger without end. And it is looking directly at him. You are too late. The voice rattles inside his skull. And for a brief moment, Kane sees. Not just this world, not just the galaxy, but all things. The endless cycle of creation and destruction. Universes collapsing, stars consumed before they are even born. The Devourer is not just a being, it is inevitability, the death of all things, and then the gateway activates. A burst of impossible light erupts from the ancient structure, enveloping the team. The last thing Kane sees before he is yanked into the void is the Devourer reaching for him, and then everything turns white. Beyond the rift, the blinding white void consumes everything. Kane's body feels weightless, as if he has been untethered from reality itself. The howl of the Devourer still echoes in his mind, but it is distant now, fading into the background like a nightmare half-remembered. Then, impact. Kane slams into solid ground, his lungs heaving as if he had been drowning and just now found air. His vision flickers, his HUD glitching before stabilizing. A sharp pain radiates through his limbs, but he forces himself to sit up. He isn't alone. Rourke, Dr. Shaw, 3 other survivors. They lay sprawled across an alien platform, its surface shimmering with symbols that pulse in a slow, steady rhythm. Almost like breathing. Where are we? Rourke coughs, pushing herself up. Her rifle is gone, but her sidearm is still strapped to her leg. Shaw groans, clutching his wrist console. His expression is pure horror. That wasn't a teleportation gate, he whispers. It was a failsafe. An exile mechanism. We weren't saved. We were discarded. Kane looks around. The air is thick with energy, charged like the moments before a lightning strike. The sky overhead is black, yet filled with swirling auroras, colors that should not exist in the visible spectrum. Massive, impossible structures float in the distance, shifting between solid and translucent. Gravity itself feels unstable, as if the laws of physics here are still deciding whether or not to obey. This place isn't a planet. This is a construct, Shaw mutters, scanning the surroundings. A manufactured dimension. Someone built this place. But why? Then, they hear it. A deep, distant hum. Not mechanical, not biological, but something in between. A vast, unseen presence, watching from beyond the veil of reality. And then, it speaks. You survived the hunger. The voice is not human, not even alien in the traditional sense. It is layered. A chorus of voices speaking in perfect unison. It seems to vibrate through the bones of the universe itself. You are not the first, but you may be the last. Kane's hand tightens into a fist. Who are you? A pause. The silence stretches impossibly long. Then, something steps forward. A being unlike anything they have ever seen. Towering, half material, half energy. Its form shifts, between shapes, between timelines, between states of existence. It is neither organic nor machine, but something beyond both. We are the architects, it finally answers. We are the last line of defense against the Unmaker. Shaw's eyes widen. The Devourer. You tried to stop it, Kane realizes. You built the cage. You failed. A deep rumbling sound, not quite laughter but not quite sorrow either. We did not fail, the architects respond. We delayed the inevitable, but time is unraveling. The Unmaker is free. And now, you must choose. Choose what? Rourke demands. The air shifts, the entire dimension pulses, as if reacting to an unseen force. In the far distance, beyond the floating structures, beyond the black horizon, something moves, something vast. You are now outside of time, human. You can return, but you will return to a reality already lost. Or, the architects' form fractures momentarily, flickering between past and future. You can become something else. What does that mean? Kane breathes. The architect extends an impossible limb, its fingers not touching space but bending it, twisting the very concept of reality. You have seen the Unmaker. You have survived its hunger. That means you are no longer bound by fate. You may fight, but you will no longer be human. The team stares, their minds struggling to process the magnitude of what is being offered. Kane looks at his crew, at the faces of those who still remain. Broken, haunted, changed. There is no going back. There is only forward. And the Devourer is still coming. Ascension or extinction, Kane's pulse hammers in his ears. The architect's offer hangs heavy in the air. Become something else, or return to a doomed reality. There's no time to process the weight of it. No room for hesitation. The swirling auroras above fracture and the distant colossus lurking. Beyond the horizon stirs. The Devourer is not waiting. We need answers, Rourke says, stepping forward. You said we're outside of time. What does that mean? The architect tilts its shifting head. The very space around it seems to ripple and warp, like reality is struggling to contain its form. You exist in the margins of causality now. You were removed from the stream of time when the Unmaker awakened. Your fate is unbound. Shaw's fingers tighten around his wrist console. That shouldn't be possible, he mutters. Even advanced civilizations can't just... He stops, his eyes flicking to the impossible cityscape around them. You aren't just advanced, are you? He breathes. You're something else entirely. A pulse of non-light emanates from the architect, a wave of information compressed into a single instant. And suddenly, understanding floods Kane's mind. The architects are not a species. They are the remnants of the first civilization to ever exist. We were the first to rise, the voice reverberates. And we were the first to fall. The Unmaker was not born. It was always there, waiting in the void, between existence and nothingness. When we reached too far, it awoke. A terrible, gut-wrenching sensation washes over Kane. He sees flashes of a time before time, a golden age of impossible wonders, entire galaxies forged like sculpture, civilizations older than the stars themselves. And then, the hunger. The Devourer did not conquer them, it erased them. We fought, the architect continues. We built machines, weapons, prisons. We sacrificed everything to stop it. But the Unmaker cannot be destroyed, only delayed. And now, it stirs once more. The sky splits open. In the distance, the colossal shadow that had been lurking beyond the horizon moves. Its sheer size is incomprehensible. Light itself bends around it, reality buckling under its presence. It has found us, the architect whispers. Choice is now, the decision that will define everything. What happens if we say no? Rourke asks, her voice barely above a whisper. The architect does not answer. It doesn't need to. The horizon itself collapses inward, consumed by an expanding void. There will be no escape, no bargaining, no delaying. What do we become? Kane finally asks. If we choose to fight, the architect gestures. The space around them peels away, revealing something beyond flesh and metal, beyond organic and synthetic. A vast network of light and thought, intelligence and power, bound together by purpose. You will become the last line of defense, the architect says. You will transcend your limits, but you will no longer be human. A heavy silence. And then, Rourke steps forward. I'm in, she says. Shaw's hands tremble. He looks at the collapsing sky, at the unraveling stars. Then, he closes his eyes and nods. One by one, the survivors make their choice. Kane takes a deep breath. He knows what this means, what it truly means. But there is no going back. Do it, he says. The architect extends its hands, and everything changes. The birth of the unbound Kane's body is no longer his own. The moment the architect's hands reach out, the universe bends. A surge of energy unlike anything he has ever felt courses through his very being, burning, unraveling, reshaping. His flesh dissolves, but there is no pain. His mind fractures, but it does not break. Instead, it expands. For the first time, he sees, not with eyes, but with pure perception. The entire fabric of the cosmos unfolds before him. The web of reality, the echoes of time, the vast currents of creation itself. He is no longer limited by the narrow spectrum of human senses. He exists beyond them, and he is not alone. Rourke, Shaw, the others, they are here, yet they are more. Their forms are no longer bound by physical constraints. Instead, they are luminous, intricate patterns of energy and thought, woven into the structure of the cosmos itself. You have ascended, the architect's voice resonates through them. You are now the unbound. Kane reaches out, not with a hand, but with intent, and reality shifts at his command. He can move through time, traverse the folds of space, reshape the very particles of existence. He understands now. This is what the architects once were. This is what they had to become to stand against the Unmaker. And now, it is their turn. The final confrontation. A shadow looms. The Devourer is no longer a distant specter. It has arrived. It is bigger than galaxies, older than the first light. It does not move through space. It is space. It is entropy incarnate, the end of all things. You should not exist. The Unmaker's voice is a crushing, all-consuming force, not spoken but felt. It is the death of stars, the silence after extinction. And yet we do, Kane answers. His voice is not his own. It is a chorus, a storm, a force of defiance. The Unmaker lashes out. Reality itself fractures. The very concept of existence begins to unravel. Entire timelines collapse as the hunger spreads outward. But the unbound are ready. Kane and the others stand against the tide. They wield the raw forces of creation itself, not as weapons, but as will. They forge barriers of light, rewrite the laws of physics, bend causality to their favor. Rourke moves faster than time, her form slipping through fractured realities. Shaw conjures entire star systems in an instant, hurling them as projectiles against the abyss. But the Unmaker is infinite. It does not die. It only consumes. We can't destroy it, Shaw calls out, his voice strained. We can only hold it back. Kane sees it then. The truth the architects understood too late. The Unmaker cannot be fought like an enemy. It must be caged. We trap it, Kane says. We rebuild the prison. But this time we are the walls. Understanding passes through them all. The architects failed because they were still bound by limits. They tried to contain it from the outside. But the unbound, they are limitless. They become the prison. Each of them takes position, forming an intricate lattice, a construct not of metal, not of technology, but of pure existence. They weave themselves into the fabric of reality, crafting a new barrier around the hunger. It will take all of us, Rourke whispers. Kane looks at them, his team, his friends, the last remnants of what was once human. There's no regret in their eyes, only purpose. Then let's finish this, he says. The unbound ignite. Their forms expand, merging with the very essence of the universe. They are no longer individuals. They are the lock, the chains, the last line of defense against the end of everything. And as the Unmaker howls, as it thrashes against its new prison, the stars light up once more. Epilogue. A universe reclaimed somewhere. In the vast tapestry of existence, a new galaxy is born. Stars ignite. Planets form. Life begins anew. The people of the universe will never know the names of those who saved them. They will never hear of Kane, of Rourke, of the Unbound. But deep, in the fabric of reality, beyond the reach of time, a prison remains sealed, and inside, an ancient hunger sleeps once more, for now.